All right, on this episode of the LPDS, I discuss lessons from my most recent road trip based on the mistakes I made in that road trip. I also get into some current events, some updates on some other LPDS happenings, which I guess current events, news, whatever you want to call it, and nice little cage fact for you guys here. So all that's coming up right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to the Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti, the show that talks about nothing but finds the lessons in everything, and we have a good time over here doing it. Hope everybody had a good week. If you didn't, call up the hotline and let me know about it. 202-670-1114. If you did have a good week, call up the hotline and tell me about it. 202-670-1114. And we'll have a good time together, living vicariously through your good week. I said vicariously, but the marbles in my mouth took over, and I don't know what came out. But that's what I meant. So I had an interesting week. It was a lot of lessons learned. I'll put it that way. We're going to get into it in the Junction. There's a lot of lessons learned. Had a road trip for work. And we grew. And that's what we try to do here at the LPDS. One of the things we try to do here is learn, grow, and improve through mistakes we made, through decisions we make or don't make, through critically analyzing situations, taking an LPDS step back and looking around us. That's how we try to do things here. And we're gonna talk about that in the Junction. Now, I'm looking at my phone. I have my notes on my phone because I was taking notes throughout the week while I was on the road. So it was a lot easier to pop up on my phone if I was ever at a gas station or taking a stop for pee breaks or whatever than it was to pull my computer out or whatever. And that's what I did. So I've noticed recently that the movie Warrior has been popping up on people's radars lately. And when I say people's radars, I mean I've seen a lot of different people on different podcasts and shows I watch regularly talk about how they just saw the movie and it's great and you need to see it too and other people should see it. And they're talking to each other on these shows and they're saying, have you seen this movie yet? It's fantastic. Tom Hardy, this and that. And I don't know what the point of, I don't know why there's a recent resurgence. I don't know if it's just a coincidence that all these different shows that I tune into happen to be talking about it. And it's all different people. They weren't on each other's shows talking about it. It just was either happenstance or there's some sort of push on a streaming service somewhere. I know it's on Netflix still, Warrior, but I wanted to give the LPDS credit where credit is due. Okay, you guys, the Junction, the universe. Because we all know that we've been talking about Warrior as a quality movie, a Tom Hardy film, top tier film for years now. For years. And if anybody's new here tuning in for the first time in the LPDS, welcome. But the movie Warrior is the movie I watched on DVD when I was stationed in South Dakota, when the trenches of war took me to the mountain region, the wintry mountain tundra, as if I was in Bastogne. And I watched that movie after my shift, my work shift, because I had weird shifts. It wasn't just a 9 to 5. In the beginning, I was working different different shifts. Started with morning shift, then late afternoon, then evening, midnight shift or whatever. So after shift, I had to create routine in my life so that when the shifts changed for me and my weekend days changed and shifted all around, and I was having weekends during the work week for everybody else, and I was getting done with work at 9 in the morning or whatever. I was creating routines in my personal life to keep a regimen so that I wasn't getting out of I wasn't getting into a funk or anything like that. And one of the things I would do is after shift, no matter what time my shift ended, I would work out, I would make food, I would shower and make food for dinner, and then I would watch Warrior. And it started when I was on a midnight shift, and you're kind of loopy from living with complete darkness. You're awake in the dark, you're asleep during the day for weeks on end. So I was a little loopy. I kept sticking with Warrior instead of popping in another movie. Instead of the routine just being any movie, it was Warrior. I needed that regimen. 182 days later, the streak ended. And that's only because the DVD I owned melted. It broke. And then there was a break in the streak. And then finally, Netflix popped it on and was like, hey, you like Warrior? Here you go. Now I have a new DVD of it. I got a backup DVD, but I watch it on Netflix now. Long story short, we've already known it's a top tier movie, and I'm glad it's getting a little bit more shine. If you're looking for a movie that's got realistic UFC expectations when it comes to MMA and fighting, that's not the movie. It's a tournament style event that they do in the movie. It's not about that. But watch the movie if you haven't. It's phenomenal. Tom Hardy is a stud. Nick Nolte is a stud in it. The other Irish guy, I forgot his name. He looks like Conan O'Brien's brother, like Jack the brother. He's in it. Quality movie, but people have been talking about it, and it was almost like, yeah, welcome to the party, pal. So I'm glad more people are getting on it. If you haven't, go get on it and watch that movie. It's on Netflix or it's on DVD, and the DVDs last a pretty long time. I will say that. I haven't seen. Tell me what movie, what other time, what other people would watch a DVD 182 times. So the fact that they built that DVD to last that long is pretty impressive in itself. How many movies have you seen more than 15 times in your lives, let alone 182 times? So there you go. We're going to move on because I could talk about Warrior all day. I love that movie. We're going to move on though. On my road trip, I'll get into the ins and outs on the junction, excuse me. But I was at a gas station. This is just a funny little thing I saw. I don't know why it made me laugh. Maybe because I was loopy driving all day for 2 days straight. And I'm in the gas station. It's a Love's. Now I don't mind Love's. Love's isn't bad. For the most part, you get a pretty decent situation with a lot of snack options. It's decently clean. The bathrooms are usually decently clean. Every once in a while, you get a bad egg in the Love's department. It's not quite as high caliber as a Buc-ee's when it comes to no matter what location you go to, you know exactly where you're getting, and it's the cleanest of bathrooms. It's not exactly like that, but it's pretty close. And I was in this Love's, and the phone starts ringing. Not my phone, the phone for the Love's, the gas station, and it's ringing and it's ringing and it's ringing, and it's a quiet ring for outsiders like me. But I imagine it's louder up at the front counter. I'm in the back looking at snackies and making some coffee for myself. And all of a sudden, one of the cashiers, I don't know if she must have been a manager or she was just fed up. But she gets on the loudspeaker, the little, how you doing? Which, by the way, is next to one of the phones that you could pick up. Okay. The phone is obvious, it's got extensions, so you don't have to be at that particular phone. You can just pick up the line right there. That's what we're talking about here, okay? And I guess her job is to ensure the other cashiers are answering phones as part of their job. But her job did not include answering the phone herself because she picked up the microphone, the little speaker, instead of the phone and just goes, answer the phone. And I'm not gonna ruin the accent and the style and the cadence any more than I already did because I don't want to inadvertently be discriminatory. Not discriminatory. I'm not discriminating against this person. I love this person. I love this lady. She was awesome. But it was just funny to me. And like I said, maybe I was loopy or just too tired from, when you're on the road, you're stupid things get funny. But the fact that she decided that she was going to publicly give shit to her employees as opposed to just answering the phone herself, I just thought it was humorous. Like she could have just picked up the phone and said hello, but instead she wanted to let the phone continue to ring to tell the other broke dick over there, hey, answer the phone. Do your job. I'm doing mine. Do your job. So listen, that's about as funny as things got on this stupid road trip. Okay? We'll get into it again in the Junction. Moving on, though. We got a little Boeing update for the folks out there. Now, I know there's probably going to be, a lot of you, some of you I know work for this company. So you're either going to not listen to this or you're going to not have a comment on it, which is fine. I get it. I'm the same way. You got to protect your careers until you can find something better. So I'm right there with you. But the most recent update on the Boeing whistleblower suicide situation was like 2 or 3 days before the apparent suicide. The guy told his family, someone in his family, like, hey, if I commit suicide, no, I didn't. But of course, it makes more sense. It makes more sense. Logically speaking, it makes more sense that he would have said that to his family members, multiple family members, and then 2 days later decides to change his mind and actually commit suicide in the midst of him blowing the lid off of the whole corrupt, illegal, unsafe operation that Boeing's got going on. He just decided now it's too much. Before, I was all in on doing the right thing. And I was telling my family too. Now, I'm all out. And I'm all out. I don't even want to have the opportunity to change my mind back to being all in. I'm out. Good night. That's the more logical, sensical conclusion to this whole thing, that it was definitely a suicide. The fact that they're just trying to roll out this bullshit story again for another situation where it's clearly corruption and you're clearly trying to silence somebody is unbelievable to me. It'll always be unbelievable. And I know I'm a broken record. I don't care. I just don't. It's just so mind-boggling to me that whoever did this is just going to get away with it. And I have no issue with Boeing, at least historically. My favorite aircraft is the Boeing 747 next to the F-16, which is Lockheed Martin. But Boeing 747 is my plane. I used to dream of flying a 747 for Delta and having it parked in my driveway when I was an adult. So historically speaking, I never had an issue with Boeing. I used to actually dog on Airbus because Airbus is a French company and Boeing is an American company. And that's how I was when I was younger. And you can ask my friends, even the wet cat knows, because I used to give him shit for it all the time too, because he's a big airplane guy and he's got family in the airplane industry. But I also have been getting better at being able to call bullshit when bullshit needs to be called. Not only have they been sacrificing safety and regulation for their DEI hires and cutting corners to save money and make more profit and whatever else, other reasons why, they're also silencing the people who are calling them out for it, the people with morals and values. And I have a problem with that. So I'm not that brand loyal. I'm not brand loyal to the death. Maybe I am. Maybe Boeing will hear this and be like, I bet you will be to the death. So anyway, that's the update with the Boeing situation and the Boeing whistleblower stuff. So well, hopefully they actually investigate this and see what's going on. Hopefully. Doubt it though. But anyway, moving on. I was having a conversation with a couple of friends separately. The subject came up regardless. I think it was a couple of friends, two separate friends saying how they listened to the most recent episode later on than they usually do in their week. And I joked with them about how I figured as much because the numbers are so low that I could tell on the analytics. I could tell when the ticker is off what it normally is from day to day. And at first I was feeling sorry for myself of like, you're just, nobody wants to listen to you. You're wildly unpopular. Nobody wants to watch you on YouTube. Nobody wants to listen to you on Apple or Spotify's. Nothing. But then I remembered a couple things. One, the big thing is that I didn't do this. I didn't start this whole thing to become popular. I had my own reasons to learn, grow, and improve in how I speak, how I think about things, try to be more entertaining, learn about the tech side of things. That's the reason why I did this. I put it out in public because that's the easiest way to get feedback. And usually strangers are around to give feedback that you know is going to be their honest opinion, whether it makes sense or not. They could just tell me I suck or it's stupid, and maybe I disagree, but at least I know that's their opinion. That's their true opinion, and it's not like my friends who are too afraid to tell me the truth. And I'm not saying my friends are like that. I've had some people in the past do that, but my true friends, my brothers, the circle I keep, they're not doing that. They're telling me the truth if it sucks, and the people who listen to it seem to like it. But the second thing I kind of, if we're going spin zone here, is it's almost impressive how if you go back 4 years now and look, if you're just some random outsider on YouTube and you happen to come across the LPDS YouTube page and you look at the playlist and the videos, the episodes, and you look and you see the numbers, and for 4 years straight, there's a video every week, and the average viewership is like 22 to 25 on average. Sometimes it's more. There were times when it's higher. There are times when it's lower. I think my lowest may be 9. And that's been up for a couple years now. And if you can't see me on YouTube land and you're just listening, I'm smiling right now because that shit's funny to me. I'm sorry. I'm not going to stop. I'm obviously not going to stop. It's obvious I don't care about the popularity because I'm still doing this and there's nobody else. It's just you guys, the diehards in the Junction listening, which I love. It's just very funny to me if I'm putting myself in the outsider's shoes and I have no idea what's going on here with this world. I didn't know it existed, and I'm looking at this and I'm just like, why is this guy posting videos every week for 4 years to nobody? To nobody, seemingly nobody. But we all know in reality, it's for us. It's for you, it's for me. And it's going great. And I couldn't be happier. It's very funny. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right. Now let's get into the good stuff because I know once we get into the junction, I'm going to get heated and I need to be brief or else I'm going to be flapping my gills all damn day. And I don't want to do that. So with that, we'll step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Cannoli Alice. Are you trying to stuff cannolis to serve as a dessert at a gathering, but for some reason you're not able to fill them up with big enough loads of cream, leaving your guests unfulfilled and unsatisfied? Then you need Cannoli Alice in your life today. From the makers of Piagra, Cannoli Alice is a special powder you add to your cream mixture to increase the frothiness and overall amount of cream per serving so you can fill each cannoli to the brim with no more issues and no more unhappy guests. So to get Cannoli Alice today, visit www.johnsonandjohnson.org and use the promo code LOADMANAGEMENT for 29% off your first batch. I made cannolis before. They're not easy. I made the shells too and the cannoli cream. And you really need to have that recipe dialed in to make sure you make enough cream for the cannolis to load them up. And sometimes you need a little help getting the lead out of the pencil into the cannoli. So there you go. All right, Cage fact. They were talking to, interviewers were, Hollywood, South by Southwest, I believe, was talking to Nic Cage's manager, who also happens to be one of the writers of, maybe the main writer of the latest movie they just showed at South by Southwest, The Arcadian, the apocalyptic movie. And his manager happened to write that, and he's in it. And he was saying how this is a Cage fact, but it's more like I don't know. I'll just tell you. He was talking about Nic Cage and what a brilliant actor he is and how serious he is when he gets into his roles and he takes on a new role for a movie. And he takes it very serious, the whole program and regimen he does. But on set and in day-to-day life, he's a normal, witty, funny guy. And the manager was saying how, like, yeah, that surprises some people that he's a funny guy and he's witty and he's intelligent, so he has good jokes and people laugh and we have a good time. And that's why I said this is not more like really a Cage fact. It's more like a no shit, dude. Like, this is Nic Cage. Okay? You can see in his interviews and when he does like TV show appearances and you see him on TMZ or if they catch him in the wild, he's out there doing karaoke and getting drunk with fans and helping fans out and this and that. He's a guy. He's a regular guy. Okay? And he's smart about how he gets into his roles, and he created an entire acting style by himself. So he's not an idiot. And he obviously likes to have fun. He goes and gets drunk and does karaoke. He owns a pet crow. He lives in a castle. Obviously, he could joke about stuff and make light of this world, this life. Something that may surprise people is that he's actually witty and funny. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all, bro. Even, and the article was going on, it's like, even the biggest Cage fans might not know this. Let me tell you something. Writer of whatever Variety magazine or some whatever bullshit I found that in. We knew here at the LPDS and the Junction, we knew that already. I hate to break it to you, but we beat you to the story, to the punch. Sorry about it. And once again, this just serves as a reminder that there is no other show, periodical, article, blog, journalist, TMZ employee no other place or person that you will get nonstop, up to date, no nonsense, Nic Cage facts and information and updates than right here when we step into the cage and the Libretti Podcast Diary Show. We're the only gig in town. Nobody else is doing this, okay? And the fact that 25 of you, 30 of you, and the entire world are the only ones who know about that is crazy to me. Talk about an exclusive club. 35 people in the exclusive club of the one-stop shop cage information vault, archive, library. We're the only ones doing it. That's wildly impressive. Pat yourselves on the back for that. Give yourselves a round of applause. And that's the Cage fact. Spin on over to the Junction. Get that logo going. I went on this road trip for work. Now, listen. I'm not going to get into. I'm popping up my notes on my phone again to make sure I don't forget anything, and I make sure I don't. I choose not to talk about certain things because I don't want to. I don't want to bitch about stuff all day. I don't want to be a bitch about stuff. Excuse me. I'm not going to get into the very huge issues I had with the reasons why I even had to go on this trip to begin with. And one of the mistakes I made was going on this trip to begin with and not putting my foot down. But I'm not going to get into any of the details to blame or point fingers or call out anybody else on the other side of this story. That is not what we're doing here. That's not going to happen. Okay? I'm going to talk about the mistakes I made on this stupid trip, this nothing trip, and try to find some lessons in it for all of us so that you guys are not making the same mistakes I did. Okay? Now, quick context. I have a computer account for a network that I don't have access to every day here in Texas. I can only access it on certain, on military bases in certain locations, and I don't have access to that here in this local area just yet. I'm working on it. That being said, I need to go to one of those locations to log into my account to keep it active. Otherwise, it gets locked out or disabled or they delete it altogether. It's a 60-day window to keep this thing active. So the quickest route, unfortunately, the quickest and cheapest was to drive over to Florida Panhandle. It's 8 to 9 hour drive. Log in at the facility that I have access to there and be done with it. Okay? All the other facilities that I have access and the ability to do that with are farther away. So driving's kind of out of the question, and the flights were too expensive. So it didn't make a lot of logical sense. And there was people at this location that I was going to meet with for work to get, kill two birds with one stone, or a couple of birds with a couple stones instead of, one bird, one stone. So that was the plan. That's what we did. And it couldn't have gone worse. Okay. It couldn't have gone worse. And most of it is on me. Okay. First mistake I made was after all the caveats that were presented to me on this trip, the first mistake I made was saying, okay, I'll go, I'll do it. I'll bite the bullet and do it and wear it. Board Randy at a kennel, get a room, pay for gas, whatever. Okay, all the caveats around it, I should have just said no, and I would have been well within my right to say no because it was bullshit. But I didn't because I had a boundary in my head, and I didn't stick to that boundary. I didn't hold myself or others to that boundary. And I forewent that. I don't know. What is the word when you forego? I forewent. I don't think that's right, but it sounds stupid. But I was stupid this entire week, so it makes sense why I would say something stupid like that. What I'm trying to say is I didn't stick to my boundary. Okay? Mistake number one. And that's something that I usually pride myself on. So I'm kicking myself in the ass for that one. And the lesson there is don't do that. Okay? As tough as it is, as accommodating as you want to be to your supervisors or your peers that you want to be accepted by, or family members that you don't want to lose in your life, once you compromise, that's the word I'm looking for. Once you compromise your values and boundaries like that, you're a loss. You're going to start going down these dark paths. And that sounds like a drastic, explanation for this. But that's how it starts. No, it's not going to be, I compromise a boundary, and then tomorrow I'm a bank robber or a drug dealer or whatever. No. It's a slow process, but it has to start somewhere, okay? The spiraling down, the process down to failure and loserville and whatever else that's not good, it has to start somewhere, okay? It's a long road, but it starts somewhere, and that's where it starts. The second you find a way to make a concession for your boundaries and values, even just a little bit, because now in your brain, you have created this thing in your mind that you can find the wiggle room again. Because now you just open your boundary up a little bit more, and you allow a little bit more bullshit in there inside yourself. And your brain has already done it once before, so now you can have that negotiation again and make another concession. And then you could do it again, and before you know it, you're just basically telling everybody, hey, I'm willing to discuss any option on the table in life. Okay, so that's why I'm kicking myself for that. And the lesson there is don't. When you create your boundaries and you have your values, stick to them. And it doesn't matter if it's your family trying to enable you to break that, your friends, your supervisor, you're scared that you might lose a job or you might not get a promotion, you might get in trouble or whatever, or you might not look cool to people you're trying to look cool with, or you might not get that girl's phone number. Forget about it, okay? Because once you start compromising your values and your boundaries, it's all over. You'll lose yourself. Your entire identity is gone. You're just an amoeba that's just going to do and say whatever to be accepted by whoever. And that is no way to live. So don't do that. Okay, but I went on this trip, okay, against my better judgment. I took the trip out there, okay? The next mistake I made, it wasn't as bad. I didn't think it was going to be bad. I had this plan, okay? I had videos that I recorded before I left that I was going to post for Spearhead Leadership for the business. I've been doing that Unlocking Leadership series. Some of you might have seen it on Instagrams, where I watched The Bachelor. It's called Unlocking Leadership, The Bachelor Edition. I watched The Bachelor. Call me whatever name you want. The Bachelor this season has been great. Okay? Thank you, Mrs. Wetcat, for the recommendation. And I analyze it, and I find the good leadership examples in each episode, and I discuss them on a video, and I post the video on Instagram for all the Bachelor Nation fanatics out there to learn about leadership as well. So I recorded that video, and I recorded it in segments because of the way I have to edit on the programs I use, because I don't have all the money in the world to get the best programs. I got to cut it up into segments to edit each one individually. Then I can pop them together on my phone It takes a little while. So I recorded it, and my plan, I actually had a plan this time. I had a plan to, when I stopped for dinner at this location, at this truck stop, I'm going to eat. I'm going to edit these videos so I can post the video, post the reel on social media for the people as scheduled. Well, on paper, that plan sounded great because I'm not driving. I'll take the time to go through and do everything right. I know I'm going to be there for a little while because I'm going to fuel up. I'm going to go pee-pee and I'm going to be eating. So it makes sense. But in reality, I didn't account for greasy fingers, food, falling out, and I'm in my car and food's falling down, and I'm fumbling with the stuff. And as I'm fumbling with the stuff, I must have sausage fingered my phone and deleted one of the segments without knowing it at the time. What I was also doing at the time was deleting old stuff in my photo album so I can make room on my phone for this sort of stuff. And when I do that, I really try to make room, because if you just delete photos and videos out of your gallery, if you have an iPhone, it goes to the deleted photos section, and it sits there for about 30 days, but it's still taking up space in your cloud, on your phone or whatever, and I needed that cloud space. So what I do is I delete it out of the gallery, and then I go into the deleted folder, or the photos folder, and I delete it there immediately. I'm not sitting there waiting 30 days. I need that stuff gone now. Well, I not only sausage fingered part of the video I needed, one of the segments, it popped up in the deleted photos folder, and because I didn't realize I did it, I deleted it permanently from there. And it didn't save anywhere. It's not on the cloud. It's not on my computer. It's nowhere. It was gone. 2.5 minutes, gone. Now, another thing, if you notice about these videos, I wear the same thing for these videos. Okay? Now, I'm on the road. I'm not wearing my gray polo. I'm wearing some comfortable shirt that I do not want to record a video with that also doesn't match the rest of the video while I'm on the road. That is unprofessional to me. So that's gone. I have to wait now till I get back from the road trip to re-record, and then I can post the video later than I wanted to. And I don't like doing that for stuff like this. As you've seen with the LPDS, very few times have we been late on posting an episode, and most of the time it's been for technical difficulties or lack of internet connection or some issue with the military, with whatever's going on. It was a few. I could think about a couple times, like a handful of times only. So I like to be consistent for myself and for those out there taking in the content. You create schedules and routines around it, whether you think so or not. We're creatures of habit. So I want to do that for, not just for myself, but for everybody else out there too. So I was not happy about the fact that I was going to be late with this video, significantly late. Now I was posted on a Friday, and the latest finale episode is coming out 3 days later. I like to get these videos out Tuesday or Wednesday of the week prior so that people have time to digest it all, get in all the leadership goodness, and prepare accordingly for the next episode of The Bachelor. There was a method to my madness, folks. I am not just a crazy person, okay? I am a calculated crazy person, okay? There is a reason why I do the stuff I do. Whether you think it makes sense or not, there is always a reason. There's always a why behind the madness, okay? So the lesson for me is twofold. One, I carry my recording equipment with me. I have mobile equipment now. As you've seen in some of the stuff here I did with the LPDS, I got different mic setups now that I can easily carry with me, so I don't have to carry my suitcases of permanent gear like this kind of mic. If you're looking in YouTube land, I got some wireless Bluetooth mics that connect to my phone. If I want to record from my phone, I have a little mini tiny tripod I could put on a desktop, like a physical desk, not a computer desktop, but a physical desk to record in a hotel now. I should bring the uniform like I do with the LPDS. I bring the tank top with me usually. Now I got to bring an LPDS professional looking, polo or button down as well. The second lesson in that whole thing is don't edit videos. Don't plan to even edit videos at greasy truck stops. Don't do it. You're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for your greasy sausage fingers to accidentally delete your stuff permanently and create extra work for you and a delayed timeline and a sullied reputation. Now, the final thing I want to talk about, because again, I'm not happy. Here's real quick. This was the schedule of events. Wednesday morning, I drive over to the kennel to drop off Randy. The normal dog sitter I got through Rover was unavailable on this last minute journey, so I had to go to the kennel, which I don't mind. He's fine there. Everything works out. It's just super expensive. It was $120 for 2.5 days. Just for a roof over his head, basically, and for someone to make sure he's got food and toilet. So I wasn't happy about that. So I drop him off Wednesday morning. I drive to the Panhandle of Florida, Fort Walton Beach area, if you're familiar. Okay, it's between an 8 and 10 hour drive with traffic and weather, and of course I hit traffic and weather. So it was probably about 9.5 hours going there and 9.5 back, because I didn't hit that much traffic on the way back, but I did hit weather. So Wednesday I get there in the evening with enough time to check in the hotel. I got a quick workout. I was pretty happy about that. I got a quick workout in at the gym, the fitness room at the hotel, and then I'm in bed. Thursday morning, I had a meeting that we scheduled, an in-person meeting. I went over to the office with the computer access I needed to log into to find out that my account was already locked and I missed the 60-day window by 1 day. And then I had another meeting with another gentleman, and I was out the door by 12:30 noon, driving 9.5 hours back to Texas Thursday. So the lesson there is call ahead. I didn't realize this at the time, but apparently, if you call ahead, there's a person at the facility that can tell you how much time you have, your window of time on your account. And if for extenuating circumstances, they can extend that window if need be. They don't like to advertise that because they don't want everybody doing it all the time. But for extenuating circumstances, like when you have a remote worker who needs to keep that active but never really uses it, that's an extenuating circumstance. So I didn't know that at the time. That would have saved me 19 hours of driving in a hotel room and gas and dog boarding and misery if I just knew that. And I could have known that if I just asked around to people. So the lesson there is ask the questions. Even if you think they're dumb, instead of saying, "Oh, I don't want to ask because I've been here for a while, so I should know this. So I'm not going to ask, and then I'm going to find myself in this situation. I'm going to get yelled at more for making some dumb mistake when it all could have been avoided, and wasting time and money when it all could have been avoided." the third lesson in all this, the third mistake, I'll say, the third mistake I made, the biggest mistake, fourth mistake. Boundaries, editing at the truck stop, not calling ahead. Fourth mistake is I got a chicken and vegetable burrito at the Moe's that was inside the gas station I was stopping at on the way over. Now, it was a Moe's Southwest Grill. Welcome to Moe's, that place. Home Wrecca, Moe's, the Florida Chipotle. Okay, Moe's. It was actually the first burrito place I've ever been to before Chipotle. Like, Chipotle was around, and that was still the big popular one, but the first one I went to in that style was a Moe's. And I like Moe's. It's good. It's not great. It's good. No nonsense. You know what you're getting. Okay chicken and okay steak, okay food. So, whatever. But this was in a truck stop, okay? And I should have known better. Because not only was it extra greasy, I don't even know how the outside of the foil was greasy and oily and disgusting, causing me to have greasy sausage fingers, which led to accidental video deletion. But their vegetables, their fajita vegetables, were clearly old and probably bad. Because old Libretti over here got a very quick stomach bug, or a very quick reminder, a lesson for me of don't get burritos at gas stations. Even if the sign says it's got a Moe's on the side here, don't worry, we're Moe's. There are still gas station Moe's. Okay? And I was up most of the night doing number 2. I don't throw up much. When I throw up, it's from working out too much or somebody trying to stick their feet in my face, and I throw up real quick and I'm done. I could throw up on command now, by the way, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe because I've thrown up so much from working out and other, and boot camp and stuff like that, that when I get a stomach bug, I don't get nauseous. I don't really throw up anymore. I got a full stomach bug one time several years ago, 4 to 5 years ago, where I was throwing up, and that was it. That's really it. So my stomach bugs are dumps. And I was up all night taking dumps. And I'm gonna spare you all the details, but it wasn't regular stuff. It was not good stuff. So I got very little sleep, and I was up early to go for the meetings and the computer network access, and another meeting, and then leaving and driving back home. So I really drove for 9.5 hours, got little sleep, and then drove for another 9.5 hours. And the lesson there is, don't get gas station Moe's, okay? If you're going to get gas station food, get the snacks that are at the gas station that you know are tried and true. The candy, because that is loaded with fake preservatives and garbage and chemicals, so that's not going anywhere. That's not getting bad on you. Candy, Reese's, whatever. Trail mixes are always a good go-to. All the shit food that's not real food, you can stick to that. That's pretty solid. And then if they have a fast food joint, like a fast food, like a McDonald's or a Wendy's, there's really no discernible difference between a Wendy's and a gas station Wendy's, or a McDonald's and a gas station McDonald's. They're the same. Okay, that style fast food is always going to be the same. But when you're getting into that fast casual, when it comes to burritos like Qdoba, Moe's, Chipotle, there is a stark difference between Moe's and gas station Moe's. And if you don't believe me, go to room 213 of the Courtyard Marriott in Fort Walton Beach on Santa Rosa Boulevard and take a look at the toilet. Okay? It looks like somebody poured acid into it because I melted that thing. I melted it. It is gone. All right? It looks like you took a Barbie doll or a G.I. Joe and you lit a flame underneath it and watched it melt. I destroyed it. And it's because I made the mistake of thinking that Moe's and gas station Moe's were the same thing. The same damn thing, and I was wrong. All of this to say, okay, the trip was miserable, clearly, but there's a lot of lessons we got out of this, okay? And all of this is to say, you now have these lessons, okay? You know the mistakes. Now you can game plan ahead of your next road trip or your next decisions or your next whatever, knowing these mistakes were made so that you don't have to make them yourself. You got the lessons, guys. Okay, you got all the lessons. I'm looking at you in YouTube land now. You have all the lessons here from the mistakes. Now you just incorporate the lessons into your daily lives, and you will not make those mistakes. You will be ahead of the game. You are now learning, growing, and improving. Okay, just as I did. However, I did it on a slightly rockier path. That's all. That's what I do. Sometimes, like I said, time and time again, sometimes old Sargy over here has to learn his lessons the hard way. As we all do, I'm sure. There are probably some things in your lives that you just have to listen, you have to learn the hard way. And that's what happened here. That's all that happened here. Okay? I just decided to take a longer class. Okay, instead of reading the Cliff Notes or Spark Notes, if you went Spark instead of Cliffs, instead of doing that, I decided to read the whole book on War and Peace. Okay, every dry word of it, and that's what happens. Okay, now, am I still mad about it? Not really. Again, if you pull the lessons and the positives and the productivity out of the shit, you come out okay. All right. And that's the big lesson here, folks. That is the big lesson that we've been preaching for a while now, is when shit goes awry, when plans fail, when mistakes are made, when uncontrollables happen to you in a seemingly negative way, take the LPDS step back, analyze the situation, take in all the information and data, and find the lesson in that. Find the lesson in it. What happened here? Well, I did this and this, and all this shit happened, and it seems like my goal was not accomplished. I failed. Okay, what do I do next time now to make sure that the goal is accomplished? Well, I'll tell you what I don't do. I don't do this. I'll do this instead. Or I'll learn from this. Take the lessons. That's it. Okay? Take the lessons. Detach from the emotions. Take the lessons. Internalize the lessons. Learn, grow, and improve. And that's all I got tonight, folks. Before we go, the big three, very quickly, the three pillars to staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, more genuine human being, and being able to pass that positivity and goodness and health and wealth throughout the land. All right, number one, exercise every day, whether it's a physical, mental, or emotional exercise. Going to the gym, working out, running, going for a walk, doing jumping jacks, reading a book, taking on a new hobby, doing a puzzle, crossword, meditating, praying, breath work. Do one thing every day to improve your health and fitness physically, mentally, or emotionally. Because that has an effect on you, okay? You get that workout in, you get that mental sweat done, you get that emotional exercise in, and that accomplishment and caloric burn surges chemicals throughout your body, endorphins throughout your body, making you feel better about yourself. Okay? Not to mention you're actually physically getting better and healthier. And that confidence you're building is helping your ego and your self-esteem. Okay? And before you know, you do that every day, you're losing weight, you're feeling healthier, you're looking more fit, and you're feeling better about yourself as a human. Your brain is refreshed more often. Your soul is happy. All the good things trickle down through exercise. Okay. Number 2, the hardest one to do, don't be a shitty person, be a kind person. When the opportunity arises to be shitty, especially on the internets, it's all over the place. Detach from your negative emotions, take that LPDS step back, and just remove yourself from the situation altogether. And that does 2 things. A, that takes away the shit and negativity from the situation and in the world. And it also doesn't, potentially start the spiraling process of someone going into a deep depression. Because at the end of the day, there's people on the other side of those profiles on the internet. And maybe they're shit talking you, and maybe they have their own demons they're working through, but you responding negatively or being an asshole back to them, even if you think they deserve it, they're still human beings with human feelings and human issues going on in their lives. And we don't really know where the straw that breaks the camel's back is going to come from. And you don't want it to be you. So if you remove yourself from those situations, it's not going to be you. You know that. You can go to bed knowing that. And you now have the capacity to go focus on more positive, productive things with your lives. So it's a win-win. It's the hardest one to do, though. It's the hardest one to do. You can ask all my friends and brothers I talk to on a regular basis. We see things on the social medias and the internets every day, and I say the same thing to them all the time. It's like, man, I really want to absolutely trash this person for being an asshole or being a fraud or a hypocrite or a liar, whatever they even though I think they deserve it. And I'm like, man, we got to stop. We can't do it. So I'm going to vent about it. I'm going to get mad about it internally, but I'm going to separate from my emotional state at that moment. And I'm going to go focus on better stuff. We're going to go talk about action figures or wrestling or baseball or whatever else that my other friends are into, whatever. It's difficult. I know, but we got to do it. It's important. Number 3, the most important one is to be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives, because you never know when that shit's going to be gone. Okay? And it starts simple. You just think about one thing when you wake up in the morning, one good thing in your life, and you think about what your life would be like without that thing and how shitty it would be. And that immediately puts you in a state of gratitude. So if you do that as soon as you wake up, your first emotion, your first thing you're doing is being grateful. Okay? You're already setting yourself up for success. Okay? And then if you schedule that time more and more throughout your day, maybe you do it at lunchtime, so that's twice in the day. Then you do it at dinner, that's 3 times in the next day after that. And then you start building it in further and further. You continue to do that day in and day out, and you couple that with continuing to be mindful of situations where there's the opportunity to be shitty and you not being a shitty person, and you couple that with exercising every day, you'll become, I promise you. Okay, I've never been so sure of anything in my life. If you follow the big 3, I promise you eventually you will be a better, happier, kinder, healthier, more genuine human being. You'll be able to spread that goodness and health and wealth and kindness and positivity throughout the land. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, put your notifications on, tell your friends and enemies about the show. Hit the hotline, 202-670-1114. I love the hotline. I miss the hotline. Give me ideas. Maybe you have a Stugotz of the week you want to talk about. You want me to talk about. I don't know what I was saying before, but that's what I meant. Maybe you have a question that we can make an LPDS poll in the future. Whatever it is, call the hotline, 202-670-1114. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.